Here are 10 things that I wish I had known when I started my camper conversion build. Over time, we've kind of changed some things up. We've had this one for about 7 years. If you haven't seen the one where I give a tour, kind of showing details of everything we've got, go check out that video. There's a link to it. But I'm going to go over in this video and I'm going to show you 10 things that you should definitely consider when you're converting a camper. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing is going to be the walls. Okay, so you can see my walls here are made of shiplap, right? And then down here, some of the walls are even made of metal. The reason that's important is because on one of the first camper conversions I did, I used paneling for my walls. And when we traveled from different climates, like in Colorado, it's a dry climate. And then, back in Alabama, it's a very humid and hot climate. And when you travel from Denver back to Alabama, the walls, I remember when we were down there camping the first time after we had left the Colorado area. And for our first night camping back in Alabama, when we woke up in the morning, the walls were all buckled and just looked like a freaking wave, like the ocean sideways on the camper. And I had put those on with liquid nails, and it just did not last. So whenever you do your walls, make sure that you do walls that are going to expand and contract, right? Without it being an issue. Because no matter what material you use, it's going to expand and contract. Some more than others. Like wood is going to do it a lot more than metal. But just keep that in mind and account for that. And one of the best things is what we've done is shiplap and metal. It has worked great. And this has been on here for 7 years with no problem whatsoever. Number 2 is storage. You're going to need a lot more storage than you think. So when we started out, we didn't have, let me show you what we had. What we had for storage is we had those cabinets, and we had that down there, and we had that. And then of course we had partial under the bed storage. Yeah, we actually had some other things in there. But that is just nowhere near enough storage. So then we came back and we added all of these in, all of these drawers here. So you want to be sure that you have a lot of storage and make sure that you plan for that when you're planning out your build. The next thing was going to be, you want to make sure that you make your camper feel comfortable and homey, because it's gonna make you feel so much better. So just little touches where you add in plants, even if they're not real. Like this one's not a real plant. We do have some real plants, but just some of the different touches, like this piece of artwork right here. This is one that we took, or my wife took it when we were camping at the old mill in Colorado. And then just different little things that she likes. So you want to make sure that you have room or have spaces to do things that make you feel comfortable and make your camper feel like home, because you'll be spending a good bit of time in it. Number 4 is going to be your appliances. You want to make sure that your appliances take up as little room as possible. This little oven is one that we started with back 7 years ago again, and it's been great. It's worked fine, but we also had to have a separate space for a microwave, which we had put down here. And then we had a separate cooktop. And now you can get appliances. You can get these little ovens like this that are combo units. That's an air fryer, an oven, a microwave, all in one. So we have already got one ordered, and we're going to be replacing this. So I urge you to do that. Make sure you take up the least amount of space as possible with your appliances. So if you're able to build your own sink, try to make it a very deep sink. That was one thing that we did right from the beginning. So this is our sink, right? It's a bucket that we built into a piece of plywood that we put epoxy over. So this bucket is epoxied into the countertop, and it's very deep. A lot of the RVs have very small sinks that are very shallow. So if you can make one deeper, it's going to make your life a lot easier when you're doing dishes. Number 6 is the toilet. I really urge you to get a composting toilet similar to this. Now, they are expensive. Like this one cost $1,000 when I bought it 7 years ago, but it has been so worth it. You don't have to worry about doing any plumbing or anything like that. Composting toilets are super easy to use. They're very clean, and I have never in 7 years have had any smell come from this toilet. It works amazing. You can even make some composting toilets that are kind of DIY, and I might do one of those later. But if you can afford one of these toilets, I strongly recommend getting one. Number 7 is going to be your shower. If you are going to be able to build, if you have the space to build a shower in your camper conversion, I'm going to show you a couple things that we did that made it easier. Let me get in here. Okay, so first off, the shower pan, right? You can't, it's almost impossible to find a shower pan that's going to fit exactly what you need. So you're probably going to have to make your own. And this is like the second shower pan I've done. And you see, I just use tiles, like normal house tiles that you would do in a shower in your home. And it works great. We've traveled with it a little bit and have had no problem whatsoever. No leaks or anything. It works really well. And the one I did before this was epoxy, and it worked really well also. Um, so you may have to do your own shower pan, which is no problem really. And you can use normal materials. And you can see on the wall here, we use this composite roofing material, and it has worked really well also. It's not difficult to build your own shower. So if you do have space and you do have room and you're considering it, you should do that. So since we're talking about the shower and plumbing, I'm going to show you one other thing. Like whenever you do most of your piping, I would use braided hose. Like some of the ones that I've done in the past, I've used like copper or PVC or whatever, but this braided hose works amazing. I'm going to turn this camera around. So I'm trying to get down in here, but you see all these different hoses? The yellow one is a gas line, so ignore that. But this braided hose, I've used it to go to all of the different things, all the different fittings, and it works really good. It's very flexible and it holds up much better than the copper because copper is rigid. So I would definitely use that braided hose when you're doing your plumbing. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to show you is over here underneath the bed. And that's going to be where our solar and our battery and our electrical and all that is. So I'm going to get this bed raised up, and then we'll take a look under there. Okay, so here we are under the bed, and you can see where all of my electrical is here. And I'll do a video later showing how all of this comes together so that if you need help with your electrical, you can look at that. But what I want to show you, number one, is solar. Okay, this is my charge controller right here, where my solar panels come in to the charge controller. If you are considering solar, like when I first did my build, I didn't want to spend the extra money on it at the time, so I didn't. Well, I've just recently installed solar, and I wish I had done it a long time ago. If I could go back and do it all over again, I would have installed solar years ago, because you can live off grid. You can live off grid indefinitely. And the solar works really, really well. And I have a good enough system here that it will run everything. It'll even run my air conditioner for me, or run a heating appliance or a cooking appliance. So you don't have to have one that'll do all that. But if you can get some solar that will handle some of the appliances or lighting or whatever, I would definitely recommend getting solar. The other thing is your battery. So here's my battery. It's just a single battery. When I first started out, I also had a single battery, but this was before I had solar, and most of my stuff would not run on that single battery. But that was like a sealed gel battery, I think it was. So I bought this lithium battery, which is the same size as the gel battery that I had before, but this one puts out more than 3 times as much, has more than 3 times as much storage as that other battery. So when you get your battery, I would not waste money on any other battery. This is just my opinion. Somebody else might have a different opinion, but the lithium battery is so much better. It's a little bit more expensive, but it holds so much more storage. So if I had to start over, I would definitely consider those 10 things. When I first built, I didn't really think about them. I mean, some of them I did, but now that I've had a lot of experience, I've been on the road a lot with this camper. I've been all over, East Coast, West Coast, everywhere with this little camper. And those are probably some of the most important things that I have thought about that I would have done from the beginning. So if you're considering doing it, um, definitely consider those things. Good luck on your camper build.